All right, so what are these fucking dreams? All right, so if you watch the movie, which I'm sure everyone has by now, I didn't want to spoil anything. So let's talk about this because there is some actual physics going on, which might surprise you. It's pretty soft sci-fi at times, with the Bene Gesserit, mind reading, whatever else is going on there, right? But it's really cool. I haven't read the book, so keep this in mind. So I'm going to guess at how they're going to explain this stuff, which I'm sure is how they probably do it in the books because, it's a very famous sci-fi, which means it probably has lots of great science in it, or at least speculative science. And so what's going on is that he can see visions of the future and stuff, right? And you recall how the Bene Gesserit was saying, all those witchy women were basically saying they've been crossbreeding human bloodlines for generations to try and get to birth a male that could basically control space-time with his mind or bend it. And so just some context, right? The Bene Gesserit are this like group of witches, and they can use this thing called the voice, and somehow they can control other people. See, all this stuff is like obviously like, soft sci-fi. That's not exactly science, right? Whatever the hell's going on there. Whatever. But what I found really interesting is when they brought the spice stuff into it. So this spice, which if you've seen the movie, you would know that it's why that planet is so valuable, right? It's the only place in the universe that has this spice stuff. And why is it so valuable? Because everyone in the universe apparently uses this spice stuff to do interstellar travel. Because somehow this spice stuff allows for interstellar travel, and it does this by allowing the bending of space-time, right? This is interesting because he's seeing into the future. Or I don't know how this works, right? I don't know if he's seeing into the past or something as well. He can see into the future in his visions or something, right? And he can suddenly do this at a more sort of at a greater capacity when he has the spy stuff in his system, because it's a psychogenic or something, right? Like a psychedelic. And why this is cool is because what it's suggesting is like this spy stuff, when it's in his system, he's able to see the future because he's bending space-time. And so if you understand what we mean by space-time, you'd be like, oh, that's cool, right? You might have already got that in the movie. So what's going on here? Well, space-time, right? Remember that space and time, at least in general relativity, are like the same thing, and two sides of the same coin. And so as you look out in space, the further you look, the further you're looking back in time. All right? So you're not just looking through space, you're looking through time. And so the whole idea of bending space-time is results in like wormholes and things, right? Because so how do we approach this? So you might have heard what a wormhole is, right? So if you were able to curve space-time from 2 points to 1 point, or 1 point back in on itself, that's what you would call a wormhole, right? And so this, I hope, is giving you sort of the intuition for what we mean here when we say bending space-time. If you're bending this stuff, this fabric of the universe, you're not just bending space, you're bending time, right? And so apparently he can bend space-time, he can bend time when he utilizes not just the voice, but this spice stuff. So I was like, hey, that's a cool physics thing. And I was like, look, I can allow that. There's some serious thought here. There's a bunch of assumptions you're just allowing, like this voice stuff and whatever they're doing there, but let's run with it because it's fun. So I just found that really cool. The fact that they never truly explain in the movie, the fact that he can see the future is directly corresponding to the fact he can somehow like manipulate space-time with his mind, which is so fucking cool. And I think that obviously assumes in the movie that in this universe, consciousness is something very transcendent. It's something truly special to the universe. So you have to accept that, and which it might be here as well. We don't know. And I just found that really cool. So he can bend space-time with his mind, which is what is directly allowing him to see the future. And I'm not sure if this is correct. I had two interpretations of throughout the movie. You know how he sees the future early on, and early on he sees the girl stabbing him. And then as the movie goes on, it's like the vision becomes clearer, and he then sees the other guy stabbing him, the guy he eventually kills. So there's two interpretations I have here. Either the vision's becoming clearer as he gets the spice and he can bend space-time, I don't know, more or something, or what it could be showing, which is a bit more complex, which wouldn't surprise me because it's based on the novel. I haven't read the novel, but this would be more complex and it still works, is that he is changing space-time. So he's changing the future. Because in general relativity, the framework of space-time, there's a block universe, an idea of a block universe where everything is predetermined. If you know the initial conditions, you can actually predict the future in this world. Everything is deterministic, right? It's predetermined. So there's no chance. Your future's already set. We don't know if general relativity is correct, though. So I'm bringing this up because the other interpretation I had potentially is that it's different earlier on. The girl stabs him, and then later on, it's when he gets the spice, it is the male who stabs him because he was able to change the future by like bending space-time or something, right? I think that might actually be what they're suggesting. I guess we'll find out in part 2. And particularly with what all the Bene Gesserit was saying earlier in the film, it sounds like he's changed space-time and changed the future, maybe. And maybe that's why, this, I can't remember the name they gave for a male that could wield the voice, right? So in the Bene Gesserit, it's all women. They don't have any boys or men because apparently men can't control the voice, or they just lose all self-control and they go wild or something, or they go hog wild. But there's been prophesized this male for I don't know how long that could wield the voice and have control, and so that's what this character is in the movie, potentially the one, right? Which is the whole theme of it is kind of lots of misogynistic things going on there. I'm sure I'm sure all those types in the world hated the film for that, right? You've got like this one male who's the one who can control, but they probably also like the fact that it's a sisterhood and there's no men because men are just fucking idiots, right? They can't control the voice. So it's kind of like look, good for feminism, and then at the same time, there's one male prophesized one who will be the Mufasa. Anyway, getting back to the science. At the end, when he was potentially changing the future. Oh, I was going to also say, I found it really interesting through the film. I've never read the book, so I don't know what's going on here. But the Bene Gesserit queen or whatever she was, right, the leader, the top witch, the top G witch, she was basically like guiding him, talking to him throughout the movie, and like at the very end, like completely instructing him. And she was telling him, when he was getting into that knife fight, right? Don't get into a knife fight. You're probably going to get stabbed. She was basically instructing him to let the guy stab him. And there was a really nice quote. That was beautiful. That stuck with me, which is, if you take someone's life, you take your own life. If you take a life, you take your own life. Isn't that beautiful? Because why you should never take another human life. Yeah, you get cursed or something. But anyway, in the movie, she instructs this, I think as well, to basically try and convince him, to persuade him to let the guy stab him. I think either to trick him, to get him killed, right? Because that would be an easy way to off him, maybe. But I think they were trying to protect him. No, maybe they weren't. Maybe they were trying to trick him. But maybe they were also trying to just sort of wield him, and control Tim's character in the movie, right? Because he was potentially the one with all this power, and if the Emperor or whatever, the Bene Gesserit, if they could control him, then they would potentially, I don't know, control the universe or something. So I think what it showed was Defiance when he went against them and didn't let the guy kill him, and he killed the guy. And I think that was what that was all about, like Defiance against the Bene Gesserit. And then so it's sort of like now that signifies war against the Emperor and the Bene Gesserit. So yeah, a truthsayer. I love that term in the movie as well. Did you catch that bit when the Harkonnen were fearful of the woman because she was a truthsayer or something? Oh no, because they'd face a truthsayer. I thought that was cool. You're all truth. We should make that a membership level. Truthsayers. I like that. Or Bene Gesserit. Anyway, I'm excited for part 2. When's part 2 come out? Part 2. Dune. I think that was all I wanted to explain with the whole mind-bending space-time. I just thought that was pretty sick, that most people might have missed if you didn't understand any physics around the whole space-time stuff, right? Dune 2, what? They got Austin Butler in there. Nice. Who else have we got? Christopher Walken? I bet you he's going to be the Empire, right? Yeah, I mean the Emperor. Is that the Emperor? Shadam? Damn, when is this coming up? Where's the release date? We got a release date? Oh, this year. God damn. I mean next year, but we're almost in that year. 1 year? Oh man, I'm so excited. Damn, surely it's going to get delayed. How did they... I was reading right into Dennis Villanueva, sorry, and how, you know, they needed part 1 to be a success to greenlight part 2, and it wasn't greenlit at this when they released it. So and I saw that he was ready to go with filming, and they had set it up in such a way. But that is really quick with all the special effects. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets delayed because, like, holy shit, they filmed and did all the editing and the effects within that time span. That's crazy. All right, that's Dune. Sigma. We're going to come back and